Hello everyone and welcome to Minimalist Gourmet, where today I'll be showing you how to make Mekitsi, or Bulgarian Fried Dough. These are so much more than just your standard donut and can be enjoyed sweet or savory. We're in for a real treat today. The first thing we're going to be doing is blooming our yeast, or basically waking it back up. We're going to do this by taking 3/4 of a cup of milk and putting it in the microwave so it's just a little bit warmer than room temperature. We're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of active dry yeast along with 1 tablespoon of sugar, which is going to be the yeast's food, to a bowl and mixing it around. Then we're going to let this sit for a good 5 or 10 minutes at room temperature so this yeast can reactivate. We need 3/4 of a cup yogurt, and of course, traditionally, Bulgarian yogurt is used, which I have zero chance of finding here in northern Thailand. So, as a substitute, I will be using Greek yogurt. To this, I'm adding 2 3/4 cup all purpose flour. I like a little bit more runny dough. I think it makes a little bit more moist finished product, but if you like a little firmer donut, you can add an additional half cup all purpose flour. 1 teaspoon baking soda, 1 teaspoon salt, followed by 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. And finally, crack 1 large egg in on top. And at this stage, I do like to give everything a good mix. I think it comes together a little better this way. Finally, we need to look at our yeast mixture. It's nice and foamy on top. That means our yeast is alive and active. So we're going to go ahead and pour it in and then mix this very, very well. Don't worry, you cannot overmix this, and you really want to go ahead and give this a good stir for a couple minutes until it's thoroughly mixed up and nice and sticky. We need to cover up our dough while it rises so it doesn't dry out. However, it's so sticky that we do need to put a bit of vegetable oil on our plastic wrap and spread it out before we top our bowl with it. Top your bowl with the oiled plastic wrap and allow this to sit at room temperature until it's doubled in size. How long this will take will vary from place to place, but usually it takes about 90 minutes to 2 hours. Again, go by the visual. Once it's doubled in size, you're good to go. While our dough rises, let's make our garlic herb cream cheese. To our room temperature cream cheese, we're going to add some garlic. Check out my short in the description below on how to do roasted garlic for even more flavor. And as always in the description, there's a written recipe. And while you're down there checking that out, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. That way you don't miss out on any of these awesome recipes that come out every Monday. Now add your favorite dried or fresh herbs. Today I'm using a bit of oregano, dried parsley, thyme, as well as an Italian herb mix that contains a lot of rosemary. Dill also tastes fantastic. Now just mix everything until well blended. This also works fantastic as a sandwich spread, and I've even been known to put a little bit in my scrambled eggs. It's pretty warm where I live, so it only took about 90 minutes for my dough to double in size, and this is what it looks like. We're ready to fry. A few years ago, we had the wonderful privilege of living in Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria, for a month, and boy were we surprised by the beautiful architecture and amazing history that this city had. After enjoying so many wonderful sights, we decided to take a food tour. We were exposed to so many wonderful flavors here in Bulgaria, but something that stood out from everything was the Mekitsi. I went straight home after eating these and learned how to make them. That way I can share that same recipe with you guys here today. Let's get cooking. As we get to frying, I have a good amount of vegetable oil on this plate, which I'm going to use to coat my hands. This dough is very sticky, so you want to lube them up very well with vegetable oil. You don't have to wear gloves. I'm just doing that so I don't have to wash my hands 20 times. Grab a handful of dough, and there's not a whole lot to this. We're just going to spread it out in our hands until it's sort of flat like a disc. If you want to skip using your hands, just take 2 spoons instead. Scoop up a little dough in 1 spoon, and then gently use the other spoon to push it into the oil, a lot like a fritter. I've got about 1.5 inches of vegetable oil on the stove at medium heat. You're shooting for about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, very, very carefully, gently lower in the dough to the oil. If you don't feel comfortable having your hands as close to the oil, that's fine. Like I said, you can use a couple of spoons to keep your hands further away. You're going to fry it on this first side for about a minute or two max before giving it a flip and cooking it for an additional 1 to 2 minutes. I go by look more than time with these. You're looking for this nice, rich, dark brown color that you can see here. Once it's reached that on both sides, you know it's time to pull it out. Drain it a little bit and let it sit on a wire rack if you have one. If not, try to avoid paper towels because otherwise it's going to sit in its own grease and get a little soggy. Now just fry up the rest of these and make sure to do them in batches because if you overload your oil or put too much dough in at one time, it's not going to turn out very well. Just take your time and everything will come out great. Now you can certainly eat these as is, say with a cup of coffee, but for me it's all about the toppings. A super traditional and delicious topping is your favorite type of jam. Here I've got some strawberry. Prefer something savory? Well, let's slather on a little bit of our garlic and herb cream cheese that we made. Since there's a tiny amount of sugar in the dough, it really isn't sweet at all and does lend itself to either sweet or savory toppings. Another traditional option that we got frequently was simply powdered sugar. It's just a little touch of sweetness and really finishes off these wonderfully. Although I didn't have one topped with this in Bulgaria, my favorite way to dress this is still sweetened condensed milk. It's a winning combination with that light, crispy exterior and that fantastically fluffy interior. And guys, it really is just that easy to make these delicious mekitsi at home. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all again here next week on the next episode.